You are listening to Share, the podcast that's all about helping empower the wisdom. From the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, here's your host, Mr. Douglas Cram.
Hello and welcome to Share the Wisdom. Here we talk with those who educate, assist, and care for blinded veterans. My name is Doug Cram. Today we will be talking with Michelle Mendez from OrCam Enterprises. OrCam is a leading manufacturer of head-worn devices. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Doug. And greetings from the other coast, from the west coast of Florida.
How's your weather there?
It is warm. It is very warm here in Florida, much warmer than I expect already for this time of year, but sunny and beautiful. I can't complain. I wouldn't take it any other way.
You know, you have one of my favorite restaurants there in Ybor City.
Let me guess, the Columbia?
Yes.
Yes. You know, my family grew up in Ybor City on my father's side. And I know that family that owns that restaurant well. It's delicious. It's a great time.
There's a little Cuban sandwich shop called Bricado's. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
It was another good place to go.
It's wonderful. And there's the bakery, La Septima. Yeah, my grandparents were actually born in Ybor City. My father's born in Ybor City. So, you know, I've grown up my whole life, you know, obviously going to Ybor City and seeing how it's transitioned into such a tourist spot and such a trendy area. But yeah, it's a really nice historic part of Tampa Bay, for sure. It's a great area.
My wife's from Tampa.
Uh-huh.
Her family comes from Tampa, so they were going to the Colombian 40, 50 years ago. They were going to Bricado's 40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah. And it hasn't changed. I mean, if you go into the Columbia and you look at pictures,
yeah,
it's the same as when it started.
Right.
Yeah, the architecture of the building's beautiful. I like how they've preserved the history and the essence of, you know, what the restaurant is. I'm a native, born here and raised in Tampa as well. So I really like that historic part of town.
Yep.
It's got a lot of charm to it.
Oh,
It's delicious. And you go on certain nights and you get entertainment. You get the flamenco dancers. So even better.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love the food.
Definitely.
We're going to get started.
Sure.
Can you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you and thank you to the Share the Wisdom Studios for having me today. My name is Michelle Mendez. I am based out of Tampa, Florida. I'm a Florida native, born and raised here. My immediate family is located here in Florida. I even went to college here, University of South Florida. So I really take a lot of pride in Tampa. I take a lot of pride in our sports teams. We have phenomenal sports teams here in Florida, anywhere from the Bucks to the Rays to the Lightning, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I am an avid sports fan. So there's a lot to be proud of and a lot to be excited about when it comes to sports here in Tampa. Obviously, enjoying the beautiful Florida weather. I'm very outdoorsy. I love the beach. I could never live anywhere that does not have water. I enjoy boating a lot, you know, with friends, all the beautiful parks that Florida has to offer, especially here in Tampa. I'm an avid animal lover, so I love to take my dogs. I have 2 dogs on trails. So I really just enjoy being outdoor and enjoying everything Florida's got to offer.
What kind of dogs?
So my animals are all rescues. So I have a black lab named Mimosa, and I have a little pit rescue. My lab is 11. My pit is 5. They're both, my pit's name is Lulu. So they're both rescues. I also have 3 cats, a cat that turned 17 this year named Mona. And then I have another Maine Coon that is 6 and a tortoiseshell that's 10. So I have a house full of animals. Those are my babies. No kids, but just a lot of animals. I love them all. They're wonderful.
We have a 4-year-old chocolate lab. His name is Tank. And we have a 7-month-old Catahoula cur named Molly.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How are they getting along?
She beats him up almost every day.
Well, you know, they have a lot of activity. They have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
They have a lot of energy. I have to say that in my house, the cats rule. The cats rule. They all get along. They love each other. But the cats definitely tell the labs what to do. And my pit does not live to the typical what they say of pits. You know, they're wonderful, sweet dogs. And my pit gets bullied by the cats for sure.
Wow. You said you went to college. What degree do you have?
So I have a degree that relates not in any way to sales. I have a degree in political science and a minor in business.
Ah, okay.
So yeah. I've never worked in my major. I've always been on the business side, and most of my career has been in sales. The majority of my career has been spent in sales. So
Okay. Let's start with OrCam now. How did OrCam get started?
So OrCam got started. It's a really interesting story. So the company actually started in 2010, and the founders of our company are the founders of a company called Mobileye. And Mobileye is known for the anti-collision technology that you find in your cars. Mobileye was the premier leader in developing that technology. They actually sold the company to Intel, and then these two owners decided that they wanted to create a device to help people. They wanted to take the opportunity and create something to help people. So in 2010, they began the company. By 2015, they were ready to go to market. So in 2015, we began selling. The device you find now is the fourth version of the device. We are a global company. So we are headquartered in Jerusalem, Israel. That is where our founders is. That is where our main headquarters is. But here in the States, our headquarters is in New York City. But we sell globally. So we sell in, I believe it's over 30 countries now. So we have a very large footprint globally. But that's in essence how the company came to be. They wanted to create a device that helped people. And the focus was there's a lot of technology out there to help people who are visually impaired that have some vision. But there wasn't a lot out there for people when, for example, magnification no longer worked. Many people are familiar with a CCTV or handheld magnifier. But when those things failed to help people, there really wasn't a lot of technology there. There wasn't a lot of technology when it came to what we call nowadays head-borne devices. So that's where OrCam was created. It was created for people where magnification no longer worked. So what they did was design a device that takes a picture of text and converts it to audio. So it's a very simple concept of taking a picture using artificial intelligence and taking that text and converting it to audio so that people that no longer had vision or traditional technology could no longer assist, it would fit that niche. And that's really how OrCam came to be. I started with OrCam. As I mentioned earlier, the majority of my life has been in sales, and I was looking to transition into the medical device field. And one day, just scanning through LinkedIn, I came across OrCam, and I was so wowed by the technology. Prior to being with the company, I had very little experience with the blind and visually impaired community. I really knew nothing of it, knew nothing of the devices. So I was really intrigued by the company, and I began to do my research and was just wowed by the device, that something like this existed. So I actually applied, and that's how I came to work for OrCam. I've been here now 3.5 years. When I originally began with the company, I was an area sales manager. I covered all of Florida and Puerto Rico. About 1.5 years ago, I was promoted and began managing the whole southeastern part of the company. And now recently, I kind of have my dream role with the company. For years, I have worked with veterans and the VAs, one-on-one. And I always said that for me, if I could have my dream position, it would be just to work with the VAs and veterans. And that actually came to fruition this year. I now oversee all the VAs and blind rehab centers nationwide for OrCam. So I am now in charge of managing the VAs and making sure that they're up to date on all the technology that, OrCam has to offer, providing technical support. So I work with the local VAs, with the VIST at the VAs, the BROs, all the individuals at the blind rehab center. So for me, it's been, very rewarding to be able to sell something that is actually making an impact and changing people's lives.
Have you been to Israel to see the company?
I have. So I was fortunate that pre-pandemic in September of 2019, they took the whole company globally. So all the global sales team went to Jerusalem. I was there for about 10 days. So I was able to see, the company from the ground up, meet with our research and development. The company is highly invested in R&D. We have about 200 engineers alone working on our devices to constantly be improving them or providing, new innovative technology to the devices. So I was in Israel for about 10 years. I got to meet my teammates from China, from England, Italy, Spain. I mean, we had everybody from all over. And I was there for about 10 days. It was really an amazing experience. It was great. So I was fortunate that we were able to do it pre-pandemic. And I hope soon, I hope that we can, as things, as COVID begins to move past us, that I'm able to go again soon, because it was really a trip of a lifetime.
Earlier, you had mentioned about some of the products that OrCam makes. Can you go into detail about some of those?
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to. Our flagship device, and the device that most people are familiar with, is a device that's called MyEye. And during the pandemic, we launched our latest version of the device, which is called a MyEye Pro. What this device does is you wear it. It's a small camera. It's about the size of your pinky. Some people say it looks like a large thumb drive. And what it does is it magnetically adheres to the leg of glasses. Basically, you wear the device. It sits on the leg of your glasses. And it's a smart device. So it understands certain gestures. So, for example, you want to read a book, you want to read your mail, you even want to read your computer screen. All you would do is extend your finger. And what the device does is it takes a picture and it begins reading to you everything that it sees on the page or on your computer screen. So that is what the MyEye Pro does. What it's known for and what it's phenomenal at is reading text. So as I mentioned, books, your mail, your computer screen, it helps you discern from things in your pantry. So let's say you're in the mood for soup. You want Campbell's chicken noodle soup. You have 5 different cans in your pantry and you don't know which is which. You could pick up the can, take a picture of the label with the device, and the device would read enough of that label to give you a good description of and tell you, for example, this is chicken noodle or this is broccoli. So that in essence is the main function of the device. It's giving you your independence. It's letting you do things that you want to do. If you want to go to a restaurant and you want to read a menu, you want to pick up your own menu versus having the waitress read it for you, or just ordering the same thing because that's the safe thing to do. You don't have to ask anybody. You don't want to bother somebody for help. You can do it on your own. So not only does the device read, but it also has other functions. The device also can tell you date and time without even wearing a watch. If you simply look at your wrist, this device is so smart that it knows when you do the gesture to look at your wrist that it's going to tell you the time. It also can identify money. So oftentimes people tell me, Michelle, I fold my bills a certain way in my wallet, so I don't need anything to help me identify money. But then I propose the question back, well, how do you know when you pay with cash, are you getting the right money back? How do you know you're not being shortchanged, or or maybe you want to put your money in your wallet a certain way? Well, you can identify money with this. The device also identifies barcodes. So there's a database of over 1 million barcodes embedded in this device. So if you want to use barcodes to identify what you're holding in your hand, when the device sees a barcode, it gives you a description. So for example, if you're holding a box of, let's say, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and maybe you have the traditional Kraft macaroni and cheese, or maybe you have extra creamy mac and cheese. If the device sees the barcode, it gives you a description of what you're holding in your hand. So once again, it is another identifier. I had mentioned before that our device encompasses or uses what's called artificial intelligence. One of the best examples of that is the device has a feature that is called facial recognition. So what this does is it enables you to, in the device, program up to 100 friends or loved ones in the device. So for example, let's say you went to go outside and get your mail and your neighbor says hello to you. If they're programmed in the device would say their name. So it's a really comforting factor to know who's around you, or if somebody's approaching you, or you walk into a gathering and you're looking for specific friends. If they're programmed in the device and you look to the right, it would say their name. So it gives people a nice sense of security to know who is around them. And that's the main functions of the MyEye. What we introduced new with the Pro was what I call an advanced feature that is called smart reading. And there's really nothing quite like it on the market. What smart reading does is it enables you, for example, to look at a menu and extract just what you want. So by that, I mean, let's say you're looking at a menu and you're just in the mood for chicken. You could look at a menu and say, start from chicken, and it is going to read for you just the chicken features on the menu. Or you're just in the mood for an appetizer. You don't want a heavy meal. You could tell the device to start from appetizers and would just read that for you. Or another good example is people with visual impairment, they really struggle when it comes to their bills, and other technology has a really hard time reading bills. Well, now with the smart reading feature, you could hold a bill in front of you and you could say, read the amounts, and it would tell you what your amount due is on your bill. It would read the phone numbers off your bill. It would add the due dates on that bill. So that's called smart reading, and it's a very unique and interesting feature. So Doug, I also want to introduce you to another device that we have that we also introduced right when the pandemic hit. And that device is called the OrCam Read. And this is perfect timing for this podcast because we just added some enhanced features to this device exclusively for the VA. So I guess we're calling it the VA Read Smart. And what this is and how it differentiates from the MyEye I was explaining was that this is a handheld device. So this is a device that you hold in your hand like a pen. A lot of people, I can kind of compare it to the length of a Sharpie pen. Everybody pretty much knows what a Sharpie pen is. So it's about the length of a pen. It is very lightweight, weighing in just over an ounce. And it's very, very simple. There's just 4 buttons on this device. It's kind of nice for people who may have neuropathy in their fingers and can't feel buttons because the buttons are very tactile. They're raised, they're very defined. So all you do is hold this device in your hand, and there's this round circular button on it we call the trigger button, and you just point at what you want to read. And when you hit that little button, what it's doing is projecting a laser on the page, and it's capturing that full page of text. So it is a very simple device to use. We call it a point-and-click solution, and very much like the MyEye device, it reads from any surface. So once again, whether that's books, your computers, plaques on walls, your mail, products, it helps you to read. Once again, with both devices, once this device, what's really the beauty of the devices are that once they take a picture of what you want to read, you are hands-free. So if you're taking a picture of a page in a book, in a matter of seconds, our device scans that page. You can put that book down and literally walk around your house, and the device continues to speak to you. I often tell people it takes a picture of text. You could go make yourself a cup of coffee, and the device is reading back to you. So it's truly a hands-free device. What we've added exclusively for the VA on this is that we have introduced barcode recognition on this Read device, and we've also added actually money recognition. And that is exclusively designed device for the VA. It's not offered to other consumers. We really wanted to, we really support our veterans and wanted to develop something exclusively for them. So this Read device, it reads, it has barcode recognition and money, but that is exclusive for veterans. Something I want to mention about our devices are they're both Bluetooth compatible. You can use them very privately. Another unique feature about our device is that they don't need any type of Wi-Fi connectivity to work. They work via battery. All the computation remains on the device. So you never have to worry about having to be connected to Wi-Fi for the device to work. So whether you're in a plane 20,000 feet in the air or you are in a bunker, hundreds of feet below ground, the device is always going to work for you because it works via battery. So it's really unique. There's nothing quite like the OrCam devices out there on the market. And we just launched that OrCam, the VA Read Smart. We just launched it this week for the VA. So we're really excited for our veterans to begin using it and get their feedback from the veterans in the VA as well.
Now, I've seen something on YouTube that mentions a completely hands-free device that you speak to. Is that this device?
So sure, yeah. So if that's not this device, and what we mean by hands-free is that we have introduced a feature that's called Hey OrCam. So everybody uses Alexa. Everybody is familiar with Siri. So we are trying to make the device, yes, virtually hands-free. You still have to touch the power button to turn the device on and off. But now with the OrCam MyEye, for example, I can control it with verbal commands.
I see.
So if I want to have my volume raised on my device, I can just say, Hey OrCam, volume up. I don't even have to touch it. Or if I want to adjust the speed of the device, I don't have to go into the menu and adjust it. I can say, hey, OrCam, speed up, speed down. Hey, OrCam, if I don't want to do the watch gesture to tell the time, I can just say, hey, OrCam, tell time. So yes, the device is virtually hands-free because now we have so many verbal commands available that you don't even need to touch the device. Now, the verbal commands are also available on the handheld device, the Read, but it is a handheld device. You do have to hold it in your hand to take a picture, but we are very excited about the verbal commands. It just helps people. It's just easier when you can just speak to it. And so many people are already used to that with Hey Alexa and Hey Siri. So bringing on Hey OrCam has just facilitated the device for a lot of people. You can, many people have older versions of the device. The device has come a long way. When it was first introduced, it had a cord. It had a cord that went from the OrCam itself to a battery pack that you wore on your waistband. And, a lot of people found the battery pack to be cumbersome or, with a cord hanging down, the device wasn't as discreet. So now what we're finding is many veterans, they enjoyed that previous versions of their OrCam. They enjoy it, but they're upgrading now to this device that now has become wire-free, more discreet. Nobody wants to stand out. Nobody really wants a cord or have to operate it with a battery pack. So we find now that many veterans are upgrading. The device has just improved and they want to benefit from these features. They want to benefit from the verbal commands. They want to benefit from that smart reading feature that I was talking about. So veterans can reach out to their VA. They have those previous versions of their device and they can talk with their VIST or with their bro, and they can have that conversation as to why upgrading to the new device would be good for them. Would help them in their everyday living. So it's always good to be in touch with your VIST and let them know that, they know that OrCam's progressing and how the device will help them and why it's good to upgrade.
Now, you mentioned Bluetooth.
Yes.
So could a blind individual connect the OrCam or pair the OrCam to a Bluetooth speaker or Bluetooth hearing aids?
That's a great question. So yes, the device can be connected to virtually any Bluetooth speaker, headset. People like to pair their device to Apple AirPods, or another popular brand is the Aftershocks. So absolutely, when I go and I do presentations in large groups, I connect my device to a Bluetooth speaker so that if I have 100 people in the audience, everybody is able to hear the device very well. But as well, it's nice to connect the Bluetooth because you want to keep things private. So let's say you are on a plane and you want to read a book and you don't want to disturb anybody around you, or you're in a doctor's office and you need to read over a consent form. You can connect the device, to a headset, earphones, even hearing aids. Now, when it comes to hearing aids, there is a particular brand and model that the OrCam connects to. It does not connect to all brands. It is, it is specific. So that's a conversation that you have to have, with the VA. But currently, the device connects to Starkey, and that is a widely dispensed brand in the VA system, Starkey hearing aids. And it is a particular model called the Starkey Livio Edge. And the OrCam does connect seamlessly with that particular brand and model of the Starkey hearing aids. Absolutely.
Okay. I think we'll take a break here and hear another message from our sponsor.
All right.
VA's Office of Blind Rehabilitation Services estimates there are approximately 130,000 veterans in the United States who are legally blind, and more than 1 million veterans who have low vision that causes a loss of ability to perform necessary daily activities. In this era of instant communication, where we get overwhelmed with data or facts that are useless to unsighted individuals, wouldn't it be great if we could count on news focused on real problems that impact the daily lives of veterans without sight? Introducing Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, an advanced informational portal designed by blind veterans specifically for blind and vision impaired vets that, like them, are facing challenges every day. Hi, my name is Ben, and I know the frustration. I've struggled in day-to-day tasks for over 20 years since I lost my eyesight. One of my biggest challenges has always been trying to stay up to date with the latest information of my eye disease, local news, and the ever-changing technology. I wanted to be able to have one single site that merged all the data scattered, and that's why we created Wisdom for Blinded Vets. This is a portal that can be accessed via the web, a smartphone app, telephone, email, text messaging, or Amazon's Alexa. It integrates with readers such as JAWS or Apple's VoiceOver and various other tools to give you a seamless experience. This portal will keep us updated on a variety of topics and will share knowledge that can help make our lives easier and more fulfilled. Highlights of the topics covered on the portal include podcasts, events, news, blind rehab and training, information on the BVA and other groups, a list of coordinator and bros list, online groups to interact with fellow vets facing the same challenges, and much more. Give us a try. You will not be disappointed. To learn more about us, visit our website www.w4bv.org. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge, please consider becoming a contributor by logging into our portal and going to the contributor section for more information. Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, transforming blind veterans' lives.
Okay, we're back. Michelle, can you tell me about any user groups that might be out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a Facebook group that, we do periodic lives on where people can go and talk about their experience with OrCam, or they can have questions and discuss any issues or give suggestions, to some challenges that maybe they experience with a device. So it's really a very nice interactive platform. So not only do we do like Facebook groups like that, but we are remote. My team, we're all remote. So we have reps all around the country. So we're very hands-on with veterans. We like to go in and speak to veterans at their support groups, their VIST hold, or sometimes veterans just have independent groups at lodges. So we'll go in and, we'll make presentations like that as well. We participate in webinars. So, OrCam is a very proud sponsor of veterans. We're very, very big with the Blind Veterans Association and a number of other organizations. So, we do webinars, seminars, like I mentioned, VA support groups. Our company also has a technical support line where if somebody's experiencing any issues, they can reach out to their local OrCam representative, but you can also reach out to the company direct, and we can provide support or answer any questions that somebody may be having an issue with their device. So we're definitely very hands-on.
Tell me the website.
Sure. So the website is easy. It's just orcam.com. And that is O-R-C as in cat, A-M.
Okay.
And I'll give you a little tidbit. The word OrCam, O-R, or in Hebrew is light, and then cam for camera. So that's kind of where the name came for this device. It's a camera that brings light to people. So that's where the name OrCam came from.
How did the people that opened OrCam, how did they have the need to do that? Was there a blind person in their family or something?
That's a great question. So yes, there was one of the owners had an aunt who was losing her vision. And, once again, magnification was something that would no longer help her. So this happened, earlier on in his career after he sold his company Mobileye to Intel. His aunt always stayed in the back of his mind and her struggles with her vision. So that is why he developed a device that specifically helped people where they could no longer use their vision in any capacity or just struggled in general from reading exhaustion. I mean, you name it. So it was really kind of a labor of love close to heart because his aunt did lose her vision. And that is how the concept for the OrCam came to be. It touched him personally with his aunt's vision loss.
Okay. And I guess the best place for a blinded veteran to go would be the VIST coordinator for more information on the OrCam?
Absolutely. People can reach out to OrCam and we get their information and we're happy to always connect them. A lot of people don't know, or a lot of veterans don't know that they qualify for these types of services through the VA. So they do reach out to us directly, and we always try to put them in touch with their VIST or their bro so they can connect with the VA and, they can find out exactly what it takes to, qualify for OrCam or qualify for any device, to help them. But we're always happy to connect them and give them that information so that they can reach out to their local VA and really get the support that they need to help them in their everyday life. Absolutely.
Okay, we're about to wrap this up. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to say thank you so much for you. I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you for the share the wisdom to everybody in the studio. It is my pleasure to do anything to support the veterans. And, they can always reach out to myself or reach out directly to OrCam.
Okay. Tell me about this webinar that you're going to be doing for Share the Wisdom or our portal.
Absolutely. I'm grateful to the Share the Wisdom group for having me back on. And we are going to have more of a technical discussion. So it's going to be a technical webinar where people can come and ask those specific questions. So maybe they're interested in OrCam and they really want to understand how it works, if it's going to help them. A lot of people, you have to match the needs with the goals. Or maybe they have an OrCam and there's a feature that they're struggling with or a feature they haven't mastered. So it's going to be a really technical, hands-on webinar where people can come and ask questions about exactly how the device works or possibly how it could help them. And that's going to take place coming in May, right, Doug? That's going to be in May. I believe we're doing that this upcoming May.
Yes. It'll be Wisdom for Tech Talk.
Wisdom for Tech Talk. There we go.
All right, Michelle. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. It's always lovely speaking with you. And once again, thank you to the Share the Wisdom team. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you to all the veterans there for all the sacrifices to our country. Thank you.
Do you remember the luncheon you did for me?
I do. I even remember the first time I met you was in the Villages at an event. I do. I remember going over there. I think you had your dog at the time under the table, but we met, gosh, I was probably almost 3 years ago now, Doug. But yeah, right before the pandemic, we met. And I was very fortunate and privileged to speak to the Florida BVA group. Absolutely. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, that was at the Vision Awareness Day in the Villages.
Yes. Hopefully, they can bring that back next year. I know there were still it was so close to right after the holidays, so it didn't happen this year, but hopefully, next year we can get that going again. It's the best event I do all year.
I spoke with the president of the Florida Regional Group, and they're going to be doing luncheons this year.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I was lucky. I know I spoke to that group for the Ocala-Gainesville area, which was yours, and then here in Tampa at the Columbia. We were at the Columbia, right?
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. At the Columbia. So if you all will have me back, I'm always happy to be there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Doug.
You're welcome. And we'll see you next time for another Share the Wisdom podcast. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks again to Michelle. I really appreciate it. Now we're going to go to Ellie in the Wisdom for the Blind studios, and she'll tell us what's happening.
Thanks, Doug. Well, let's take a look in the share inbox and see what viewers have to say. In Episode 1, Reveal of Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, David in Florida writes, "Just wanted to congratulate both Doug Cram and Ben Keeley regarding the fantastic podcast interview they have created and aired, overviewing the current status and future plans for wisdom for blinded veterans. Their podcast is so very, very professional and well done. It covers every aspect as to what is so desperately needed by the blind and the vision-impaired veterans community. Their efforts and progress to date has been truly exceptional and certain to be incredibly beneficial and appreciated by so many as the foundation for our beautiful future. Thank you. Sincerely, David." Thanks, David, for your nice comments. To our listeners, please remember that if you have any kind of feedback, you can always email them to share@w4bv.org. This is Ellie with Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Back to you, Doug, and great job.
This is Doug Cram coming to you from the Wisdom for the Blind studios. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Share. Please look out for the next episode ping soon and visit us on the web at www.w4bv.org. This has been Share with your host, Mr. Douglas Cram. Produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International.